So, my name's Elaine Iqbal. Welcome to my pitch presentation. So, how I felt before doing anything when it came to FMP, I was kind of nervous to do it because this is a final grade, this is what we get graded on, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do because I knew that we couldn't do what we wanted to do last year, so I was kind of stuck on the ideas and I was nervous. But when we started to do the mind map and I wrote down everything from the past 3 years that I did, and I wrote down how I felt with each unit, my role in it, the outcome of it, I started to gain more knowledge of what I enjoyed because I didn't want to do something that I wouldn't enjoy doing because I wouldn't put my best foot in it. So the 3 initial ideas that I chose and wrote down on my map was to do a photo shoot, a magazine and a short film. The reason why I chose a photo shoot is because I like photography. It's something that I enjoy, it's a hobby that I do, and I felt like that would be a good idea. A magazine because I like to get into journalism one day, and I like the creative side of magazines where you get to design everything, and it's something that I haven't created before. And with a short film, I did it this year, and out of all the units, that's been one of the things that I've enjoyed the most, and especially with the outcome of the short film, I was very happy with it, and I felt like they were 3 good initial ideas out of everything that I've done before. And what I chose to do was a lifestyle magazine. The reason I wanted to do a lifestyle magazine is I felt like out of all the 3 ideas, I would challenge myself the most with FMP. With a photo shoot, besides media, I've done a photo shoot outside of college, so I've already done that before. And with a short film, I enjoyed it, but when I was in a group, when I had maybe just one role on with the cast, we were each other's, I felt like I was a bit wary of doing a short film because I wasn't too sure if I was going to enjoy doing it on my own. So I thought best to do something that I maybe have done before but enjoyed. Well, I've done article drafts in past units and front covers, and I like that, and I like being creative, and that's why I chose to do a lifestyle magazine. Also, it will be printed. I felt like I've done digital before, and printed would be a cool way, and especially at the end, I'll be able to have it with me forever. For a target audience, the age that I chose is 15 to 19-year-olds. The gender that I've chosen is females, and it will be targeted towards students who are in education, so for high school, college, university. For my mosaic profile, I chose O. The reason for this is because, yes, it's 15 to 19-year-olds, but they're still working. At my age, I was working at 15, and it would be part-time. For the gender, I chose females because when I did my questionnaire, a lot of the men wrote they would not read this type of magazine. They're not interested. They'd rather just read a magazine that was fixedly based on one piece of content like sports or cars, so they weren't interested. That's why I narrowed it down to females. And for the age, originally I had it to 14 to 22-year-olds. Now I wasn't really sure with the age because I felt like that was a big gap. 14-year-olds would want to read something completely different to a 22-year-old, and when looking at research, they also said it was a massive age gap, maybe narrow it down to a bit smaller. That's why I chose 15 to 19-year-olds, because I wanted to do something that was in my age where I'd give my feedback as well and my opinion on certain things. So this is the content that I will be including. I'll be including music, celeb gossip, TV shows, films, fashion, gaming, life after lockdown and TikTok. So for music, what I'll be talking about is recent music that has come out, either somebody's album or singles that have been released, how artists have coped during lockdown, for example, them not being able to perform at concerts or festivals, and also since they haven't been able to mix with people, they've had to make music at home and how that has affected them, not being able to go to the studio and make music. For celeb gossip, it was very limited during research. Because of lockdown, there hasn't been too much going on. So what I've narrowed it down to, obviously I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to be speaking about, because there may be, I don't know, say there's drama between different types of celebrities that have gone on in the next week or two. I talk about that, and also say Demi Lovato, I thought about speaking about her recent documentary that has come out and the effects of how people feel about that. For TV shows and films, I thought I'd talk about, for TV shows, recent TV shows that I knew, TV shows that have been renewed another season, for example, maybe something like Stranger Things. For movies, this was a big one, because cinemas have been closed and a lot of movies have been delayed because it's all about making money. They've delayed it to this year. I decided to speak about movies that meant to come out last year, for example, things like James Bond, Black Widow, that have decided to come out this year. Because I feel like teenagers would like to figure out when cinemas open what they can and can't watch. For fashion, I thought I'd talk about, now award shows have been happening this year, so I thought I'd talk about, what has been going on, trendy things when it comes to best and worst dressed. I felt like I could include the audience I'd create a poll and give them a bunch of celebrities and they'd be able to vote on who they think was and wasn't the best dressed, and include that into my magazine so it makes the audience feel like they're involved in it. I also thought I'd talk about things to wear after lockdowns happened. Since everything's starting to open up, I thought this would be a cool thing to add. What types of outfits people wear, what trendy things has happened during lockdown that will be carrying on after. For gaming, I wasn't going to speak about gaming because I wasn't sure if females would want to, but gaming is so big it's for everybody now, so what I've decided to talk about is new releases of video games, updates on video games that are happening all the time, and also another thing that a lot of people pointed out to me is the rivalry between Xbox and PlayStation, which is there because a lot of people have different opinions, and I felt like I could maybe do an interview with someone on what their view is. For life after lockdown, since my target audience is 15 to 19-year-olds, they'll still be living at home, so I thought I'd include things that they will do after lockdown, family outings that they might want to do with their parents and siblings, and also talk about concerts and festivals. Festivals are happening this year, so I'll talk about how COVID will affect festivals, what festivals will be happening, won't be happening. And for TikTok, I was going to talk about social media as a whole, but looking back at it, I felt like people already know about things like Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. During lockdown, TikTok has become really popular, one of the biggest social media apps at this time. I felt like I could talk about the positives and the negatives of this app, and also how you can grow, anyone can gain a platform that quickly. It also allows people, if they have a business or they want to start a singing career, dancing, things like that, they can grow just from TikTok. This is my inspiration for the front cover. So when looking at magazines, a lot of the front covers, they had celebrities on because teenagers are attracted to what they see there and then. They're not going to want to see somebody they don't know on the front cover. So for example, this is J14, that's Twist. They have celebrities that everybody seems to know about. And they've also, it's not just about the celebrities, it's the colours. They're all bold, they pop out to everyone. And when I was looking at them, I was attracted to what I saw there and then, which is something that I'd like to create for my magazine front cover. For double page spread, this one is J14 and that one is 17 magazine. They are completely different, but I'd like to add a mixture of both into my magazine. I don't just want to stick to one where it looks like one or the other. I'd like to include both. This would be an example for celeb gossip, and that would maybe be an example for fashion, where I include pictures and just talk about the fashion that's going on. So that's my inspiration for some of the pages and front covers. So a research methods that I did an interview, I did my questionnaire, and I went out to shops, I bought some magazines, and I analysed them. I think the most productive and out of all of these was the questionnaire for primary research, because I found out with the age, people didn't want it to be a massive age gap, that people wanted bold colours for the magazine, what types of content to add, because I didn't do gaming and TikTok, so therefore when I was starting my secondary research, it was effective. And also with collecting teen magazines, when going out to the shops, there was magazines but not for the specific age group that I was looking for. It was either magazines for young adults, say 20 and above, or let's say 13 and down. There wasn't really in between, which I felt like is another reason why I wanted to do 15 to 19-year-olds. For secondary research, that's why I've researched all of the content, what I'd want to include in all of it. I looked into different websites of how I'd be able to print my magazine. I looked into Photoshop a bit more, and I also looked into InDesign. I didn't look too much into InDesign because I know I'll be having a lesson on that later on. So for pre-production, what I'll be doing for pre-production is I haven't written down all of my pre-production documents because I want to go through them and make sure they're correct with the teacher. But that's what I'll be doing for pre-production. I'll also be doing my article content drafts. This is where I'll be writing down all of the content that I want to put into my drafts. Because when I did it in Unit 12, the previous unit, if there's something that isn't grammatically correct or I feel like needs improving, I can see it there and then, because I don't want to get to post-production and things go wrong. And also something that I didn't look too much into but I felt like I need to look into is collecting images for my magazine. I need to do it before I start production or post-production, and I need to make sure I can use them, that they're not copyrighted and also they're not pixelated, so I need to spend some time looking at all the images that I need to collect for my magazine. So for production, this is where I'll be doing my magazine design draft. This is where I'll be doing the design of everything, where I did this exactly the same Unit 12 and it helped me out because I wasn't as stressed when it came to post-production. I'll also be taking photos for my fashion segment. When I was looking at fashion pages when it came to magazines, not many of them were taken by the editor. A lot of them were taken by the people, like they've got maybe some of their friends, people that they know, to take pictures themselves, and I felt like that would be a cool idea. So I have about 5 to 6 people that will be sending pictures in of maybe, because during lockdown, as we know, a lot of teenagers spent a lot of money on online shopping when it came to clothing, and a lot of them, my friends, have put together pieces of their favourite clothing that they want to wear after lockdown or that they've worn during lockdown, so that's what I'll be doing. And for post-production, will be the hardest part for me. This is where I'll be putting everything together. I'll be able to look back at pre-production and production, all of the drafts, and I'll be making it all on Photoshop. I have a Photoshop that I've booked with Michael later on, and I've also been looking at tips. And over the past 3 years, I have used Photoshop quite a bit, so I've already gained understanding on how to use it, and with front cover especially. And also I'll be putting the design from Photoshop to InDesign. Hopefully I'll be learning how to do this once we get started. And when it comes to the websites and printing, I can't remember the exact website because I looked at 2 or 3, because some of them were depending on how many pages I do, how much content is included. I would like to do 15 to 20 pages, but I feel like I may do more depending on some segments. They may take longer, so I didn't finalise the website. So what if things go wrong? I couldn't think of too many things that could go wrong because it is an independent project, it's a magazine, but the first thing would be the fashion pictures. Say somebody sends in a picture and they've cropped off half of their body or their arm, or it's pixelated. I have bought outfits, things that I would wear, and I'll be taking pictures myself because I don't want to keep asking people. That would take time out of actually editing my magazine, which I don't want to do. And the second thing would be printing of the magazine. When I was looking at websites, for the delivery it may be expensive because I'll want to print out more than one magazine, and also the shipping. Due to COVID, a lot of things are taking their time with shipping. They want to make sure everything is extra safe and careful. Say something takes, they say it could take a week, but it takes longer and it comes to my project screening. What I've decided is, instead of not having anything, I'll just print it at home, staple it together, make it look like a magazine as much as possible, because at least I would have something to show. So for my project screening, since I am doing a magazine, I felt like I didn't want to be standing talking because everybody reads at their own pace. Some people will be slower, some people will be faster. So what I thought is I'd do a reading corner maybe 2 or 3 different reading corners in the classroom. There'll be tables, chairs, somewhere to relax so they can read each. So there may be 2 magazines in each corner. And I thought I'd also leave feedback cards, because even though I won't be able to change anything, like I said, I'd like to get into journalism when I'm older, or maybe after college. So I feel like I'll be able to look back at this. That's it for my presentation. Any questions?
Okay. What is the aesthetic of the fashion? Is it taking a picture of the clothes and the pictures? What aesthetic are the outfits? Are they all as separate outfits, or are they all like summer, spring, autumn?
It's going to be summer and spring things, because I don't want to do autumn, winter, because that would be too far on things that are now present. So I'll basically mainly focusing on summer and spring. Kelsey?
Do you have a title for your magazine?
No. I was looking at ideas. I was looking back at a questionnaire. I asked for ideas, but a lot of the responses were kind of silly and basic, and a lot of them said, I don't know what you would do for a magazine title for teenagers, so I'm still struggling to find a title that isn't babyish.
Will it be formal or informal?
Informal, since my target audience is teenagers. Okay.
Do you have a set amount of pages that you want it to be?
No, I did want it to be 20. I want to stop there, but I feel like I may go over, because for the fashion segment I'd like to maybe do 2 or 4 pages. It all depends, because I don't want to cram everything in just 2 pages. I'd rather go over with it.
You didn't mention anything about the secondary target audience.
With the secondary target audience, it would be male. I couldn't really focus on the age. I wasn't too sure for the age what to do, because what I wanted to do was 22 to 26, but I felt like from 15 to 19 to go to 22, 26, that would be a big difference still, so I was stuck on the target audience quite a bit.
Just sorry, on the back of that, because again, thank you, that was going to be one of my questions. Your primary audience, with everyone so far, I'm saying make it bigger, but yours is absolutely right. Yours is a product that definitely needs to fit into a smaller age bracket. But I do, again, think you've maybe missed a trick. So you said you wanted to include a section about gaming in your questionnaire. Really, males were saying that they wouldn't read it. What you might find is that actually maybe boyfriends or partners might pick up that kind of magazine because it's lying around at home. So I think with your secondary you should focus on that gap in the market, maybe.
So could you just expand on the actual screening, because from what I've personally understood is that we're going to be given a copy of the magazine, I assume, and then we're just going to read it, or what?
No, basically you're going to read it yourselves, because everyone reads at a different pace. I felt like it wouldn't be right for me to just stand here or read it all to you and leave feedback cards for you to talk, because I feel like me just explaining with a magazine, it doesn't sit right. It may be right with something else, but with a magazine you just want to sit and read at your own comfort and read at your own pace.
Yeah.
Hiya. Your photographs, you're obviously going to get some stock images, one would presume, from Celeb here, talking about this, film that, whatever. Where and what sort of photographs will you be creating yourself? Is it
for
TV
the fashion?
studio? Yeah, for the fashion side, is it?
I'll be getting them given to me, and if they don't go well, then I'll be creating them myself. I'll be taking the pictures at home, because it would look a bit weird when I'm talking about home fashion, doing it in a TV studio.
So no TV studio, no locations?
No. Either my home or people will be sending, that I've already got, people will be sending me the images to make it look like they've been included.
I think there needs to be more original content from you, because you say that you pitched that you were going to be taking the fashion photos yourself, but actually once you explain that, you won't be. You are hoping that people will send them in. So then that makes it zero original visual content. Do you see what I mean? Apart from, obviously, I know you're putting together the magazine. I think you need to go back through your articles and try and determine in those articles, actually, you've got the section about film and the cinema's opening back up.
Yeah.
I'm presuming at some point you're going to be planning on taking a trip to a cinema. You could kind of capture that content, or do you see what I mean? There could be a lot more opportunities for you to capture some of your own images, and I think you haven't really looked into that enough.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm curious, who did you interview in your primary research?
So when I emailed some of the magazines, none of them got back to me. So I decided to do, my aunt is also a media teacher, and she has one of the students that is doing journalism at university, so I interviewed her because she's still in target audience, 15 to 19, interviewed her.
Okay.
Because I felt like I'd rather have somebody than nobody for the interview.
And then my last one is not really a question, it's more of a suggestion. I know you're concerned about shipping costs and impact of delivery times. Obviously we spoke about Luton-based printers. It's kind of swings and roundabouts really. A local printer, yes, may be slightly more expensive, but then you could physically go and pick it up.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't then be paying shipping and delivery, and you would know then it would absolutely be ready on time. So rather than looking at internet-based print options, look at local-based print options as well. Okay. Any other questions? No? Right, thank you very much, Elena. Right, we are running ahead of schedule.